Can you read that?
I got to get up close. Let's
Okay.
see. I was wondering, as a man, do you stand out from other men when you own your own home? Does it make your chances of having intimacy go up?
Owning your own home.
Hmm.
It's interesting. I remember this was 20 years ago when I was going through my divorce and I was actively dating. There were a lot of women said, I wouldn't date a guy who doesn't own a home.
I have heard that. Yeah.
And at the time, I mean, I'm going through a contentious divorce. Financially, I'd lost my high-end corporate job.
Yeah.
We sold our house in the divorce. I mean, I did at the time briefly have money in the bank before the market crashed.
Yeah.
I felt, I don't want to say resentment, but I felt a judgment that if I didn't own a home, I was less than.
Mm.
And so to Miss Smith or Al Smith, maybe this is a gentleman who wrote this. Here's what I did learn. That was the exception, not the rule, the judgment.
Yeah.
But I would say there was enough percentage to say it was noticeable.
And these days, you can own a home and still be leveraged to the hills.
Yeah.
And not have much equity in it, right? So there is that. But
by the way, a home these days, I think, is a albatross in some ways.
Well, I spent 2 years in Mexico, living in Mexico.
Yeah.
And it was nice to be able to just
get up and leave.
Yeah. Sign off all my things and say I'm going to go. But I think that I think the days of, he must own his home are kind of gone. I think that there's so many more values that we may be attracted by, that the owning of the home, it might be a piece of it. It's a nice piece to indicate solidity or foundation, I guess, maybe. But I don't think it's on everyone's mind.
Well, and also, you can be, if this is a gentleman, and by the way, thank you for the donation as well, is that, this is a great opportunity to build some intimacy with someone by being vulnerable and sharing, if you're not a homeowner right now and the fear you have around that. I think, to some degree, I know I criticized women for maybe rejecting men for vulnerability, although you were saying the complete opposite. I think giving a chance for someone to hear how you feel about this subject, can build a deeper connection with someone.
Yeah.
I think we've even talked about it in our early stages. We talked about home ownership and where we're at in that space. So I love that question. Thank you so much. By the way, if anyone wants to join us on the Love Seat or join us live, I'm going to post a link. We'd be more than happy to have a dialogue with you right now. So, by the way, Michelle jumped in earlier and shared that great conversation. For me to make effort a solid heart connection, I needed the physical piece. My 32 marriage ended with my husband's death, suffering from ED since he was in his 30s. And she goes on to say, ED shouldn't end physical intimacy. Sexual expression might change, but should not end it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say something that's probably going to be offensive, but I've always said, well, if my erection didn't work, my tongue always gets hard. I'm sure I've offended some people there, but
look, I've been in relationships where ED was very present.
Yeah.
And I think it's not necessarily that it happens, but I think it's how you work with it.
Yeah.
And, there are other means and other ways to be physically intimate.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of men, let's just say, midlife and on, the struggle is around their identity.
Yeah.
And their sexual identity has always been a very important piece of who they are.
There's no doubt about it.
So when ED strikes, it feels like to their whole entire identity. And to have to reinvent oneself in terms of their identity, you know, at this stage in life feels like a daunting task, but it is where the juice is. To me, the sexual identity is in the sacred communication. It's in the intimacy. It's in the real solid connection that two people can have.
Well, I think to some degree, and you beautifully said, babe, I think to some degree, men are being called to lean into building that emotional muscle, if you will, and that ability to be vulnerable, that ability to share from their heart, that ability. And first off, I think both men and women are being called to emotional maturity and relationship skills. I mean, this is why there's so many books around, you know, like the book Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, the book Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, you know, my book, What the Heck is Self? Wait. I gotta give myself a plug for a second. What the Heck is Self-Love? Anyway, a journey of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. My book's listed below. Thank you for allowing me that. Also, like the Hoffman Process or Wired for Love. All of these books are, you know, I really would love to see more men reading these books and learning about attachment theory, learning about compassionate communication, because this isn't shit that we're taught. You know, we're not taught how to be evolved beings. I was telling you this morning, I was sharing with you how I thought how delicate, you know, we humans are and how messy we are, you know, and I was sharing with Paula this morning about the thing that triggered me last night was really a reflection of my mother that goes back, you know, 60 years ago or 50 years ago anyway. So, hey, Ursula just jumped in and said, you cannot build love. You cannot build love. Love is not a verb. It's a state of your soul. You can build relationship, but a relationship does not equate to love. Relationships come and go. They are based on benefits. So I read that and I'm like, yeah, you know, I think love is a state of being. And I kind of agree with that. You know, I mean, we say build love. Even my thumbnail says, how do you build love or build intimacy? But we
have heard the words love is a verb a lot.
Yes.
And I'm a little stuck on that because I think that you asked me early on a question and it really struck me. It took me a second because I really had to process it. And the question was, do you want to be loved?
Okay.
Or do you want to love? And my first reaction was, well, of course I want to be loved.
Okay.
Right? And then I started thinking about it and I was like, you know what? It's not necessarily that I want to be loved. We all want to be loved. We all want both.
Right?
But I really started thinking about what does it feel like to love in that deeply connected way where my soul is connected. And to Ursula, was that who it was?
Yeah.
Was saying Usabella, I think is it?
Ursabella.
That it is a state of your soul that is a feeling that but yet there is a verb, there is a sort of action that comes from that. So it's a feeling state, but it's also like a sending out of a signal.
So when I asked you that question, it's because I saw a meme that said, do you want to be loved or do you want to love? Yeah. And I was reflecting upon it myself.
My answer, by the way, ended up being, I want to love.
You want to like be the giver of love in a way.
I want to be in that place of my soul that feels so deeply about another person.
That you give love. Yes. And I want to say give and receive. Yeah. And what's interesting, because I probably, when I look at my past relationships, I didn't feel loved. So when I answered the question, it's like, I want to be loved.
I want to be loved.
Now it's not that at the expense of me giving love either. But I felt like I've been deficient in that area. So when I answered the question, it was like, I want to be loved. And I was kind of grateful that you said you wanted to be the giver in that regard. And believe me, we give, our reciprocity is a mutual exchange with one another. But what was interesting is it was telling me that you weren't going to be like you wouldn't be withholding love.
Yeah.
And I know for those of you that are an anxious attacher like myself, or at least that was my my default. And if you've been with an avoidant, it can be excruciatingly painful to be someone who isn't emotionally expressive, that isn't initiating it. It's not, they might respond to I love you by saying I love you, but they're not initiating that act of love. Maybe in the way of acts of service and such like that. Yeah. But there's this holding back from the and I'm not talking about you being an avoidant or anything like that. Yeah. I'm just aware of how that can feel. So, but at the same time, it was a great question for us to explore, because really we both agree that it's in the reciprocation of giving and receiving, and the capacity to receive is just as important. You've said to me a bunch of times, can you receive right now? And I'm like, I'm like, I want to receive, but I'm having up the, like all these mother wounds and shit like that popping up.
So to Isabella's question, do you believe that love can build?
I like the idea that she's going is that a relationship is something built, and that love is the through line.
Oh yeah.
It's not you like love just to, remember I don't know if you remember this. I said this. I was driving the other day, and since being in relationship with you, I mean, like, I have this abundance of love inside me. It's like overflowing. And I'm like, I was driving, I saw someone walking down the street, and I'm like, I'm giving you love. And I saw someone else, I'm giving, no, you know what it was? I saw a person that was disabled. And I was like, just sending that person so much love. And I was thinking that in our relationship, I have this just abundance of love that I can give everybody love and still have plenty for you, if not more. Yeah. And there's this belief that love is like portioned out. And I'm like, no, we have the capacity to, like, coming back to Isabella's point, we have this gigantic capacity with us. But a relationship, wait, what did she say? A
relationship can be built.
They're based on benefits. Well, relationship is, there's a transactional component to relationship. There's expectations within relationship. You expect me to be honest.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, like you, I mean, well, and we can, in other words, there is, you expect, integrity, authenticity, loyalty, all these things. So in a relationship, you expect my actions to match my words. Not when I say expectation, it's like, look, if I was inconsistent in this area, you would probably go, man, I don't want to be in this relationship.
Right.
It's not it's the basics that I'm talking about in the form of expectation. And that's really more about our shared values and such. So I do believe that a relationship is something you build, that you don't need to build love. It's now, okay, let's differentiate the word grow. Okay, how about grow?
Well, so
no, hear me. Let me finish this. So I don't know you, so I'm not in love, but I start to like you. And then that like starts growing into love.
Okay.
I think love can grow.
Okay.
The attachment of love can grow with another person. But I agree, a relationship is something you build. I'm just going with it. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
The thing that I was bouncing off of there was that, with your layers of tolerance and
the love
scale, I think that's where building does come in. And I say this because we are over a year into our relationship, and it feels better every day.
Okay. Again, I'm going to argue with you. Disagree. It grows every day. It's not built. It just grows. The love scale, the word scale is about scaling up, growing with it. You're not building it. And I know this is like semantics with the words, so we're playing with you here, Isabella.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I sat with, a thought a while back, is that when couples have differences, and when you're first having a difference might feel like an ick.
Yeah.
Might feel like a frustration. It can
Yeah.
feel like a
Resistance,
repellent.
repulsion, yeah.
And so what happens when you have an ick is if you stay in that resistance, that's a block to love.
Yes.
Okay. So then you might go from ick to tolerance of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I don't really like it, but I'm going to tolerate it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
by the way, it's really hard to get off the ick.
Well,
I just said.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But well, you might move on.
You might move on because.
And by the way, some of the most ridiculous icks I've heard,
yes,
are like, you got to
agree.
be fucking kidding
I agree.
me. Okay, so now you take this ick and you go to tolerance.
Yeah.
What's above tolerance is understanding of what the difference is.
Yes.
Okay. When you reach a place of understanding, you're moving up the scale of love. And when you can get from understanding to acceptance, okay, well, now you're in a state of love. You're in a state of, when you're in acceptance, you're in a state of love.
Okay. Well, you're closer to it.
Well,
you might just be accepting something and going, yeah, okay, that's just the way he is.
Well, no, I'm not. No, because then that's tolerance. You're accepting something and you don't like it. That's tolerance. So acceptance is a surrender to saying, okay, I accept this. Now, if you really want to go up the love scale, you get to a place of appreciation.
Yes.
And if you really want to go up the love scale, you go, fucking, I adore that difference.
Yes.
That's the Harry met Sally moment.
Yeah.
So this was it's something in a book that I'm working on called The Love Scale. And it's about the recognition that love grows in a scale.
Yeah.
And we can bounce around from that, within that space.
Yeah.
Julie says, I love your program and transparency about relationships. Thank you for teaching me so much. Well, we're thankful. We're very grateful. By the way, if you're grateful, donate to the Connor Aze Scholarship Fund. Folks, one of the reasons why I wanted you to be on, well, I'm talking to them right now, but why I wanted Paula on. And some people say, oh my God, you guys give TMI, you're sharing too much, you're oversharing. Believe me, there are thousands of conversations you are not privy to. You're privy to 1 hour out of 170 hours of conversations we have every, couple, 3-5 days, kind of thing. Is that I genuinely feel as though what we're experiencing between us is special. And there are very few people talking from their heart, couples really talking from their heart about their relationship. And I'm like, we need, we need role models. We need to see evidence of it. So maybe we go overboard by, giving a lot more in that regard, but there's TikTok reels that are for, 3 seconds, and there's Instagram reels.
It's not real life. And we are in real life here. And it's, it is something that we display with open heart, in hopes that people find love.
Yeah.
People find love. Yeah.
And EB says, I agree that love is a state of being, but it's also expressed in a verb form. It's carrying out a commitment, whatever relationship dynamic, romantic, friendship, family, or self. I hear love is a verb, love is not a verb. I mean, I have to go back. Hey, Google, tell me what a verb is.
It's an action.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, it's going to talk.
It's going to talk right now. There
was something up midway through. I think we missed.
That was, Evie also said, if both people aim to love, then they'll be taken care of. It's interesting. I genuinely think about, it's almost a natural reaction, but I think of ways of how to make your life better.
Okay.
It could be simple, like, believe it or not, that water was somewhere else, and I put it here for the, I think it was in there, and I brought it here, so you had it. Yeah. And it's now become just a natural reflex because I want your life easier. And you do the same for me 100 times a day.
Yeah.
This isn't singular.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I genuinely want you to be happy.
Yeah.
But, and I'm thinking about all those, videos about men will do this and men will do that and women will do this and women do that. But, that sounds all good in theory, talking about it.
Yeah.
But I'm actually experiencing it, but not like I'm not consciously thinking about it.
No.
It's just it's like almost a involuntary action.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think
conscious competence, all
that stuff. Yeah. Conscious and confident.
Yeah.
I think for me, I feel like my nervous system is at peace with you, and I can just be myself. And for me, what ends up happening is I just have more reveal of me. You hold up a mirror to me and you call me out on the table.
Oh God, I'll call you out on your show.
But yeah, but I am thankful for that. Like I'm in complete, receivership of it. And I watch some of my friends and relationships and things like that, and there's a lot of need for control and their expectations, are not necessarily coming from love. And I said this to you early on, and it is really truly has been our through line, which is always come from love. And I think that if the world could get behind that in their relationships, and I'm talking about relationships that are romantic or friendship or family, or even just yourself, like the way you talk to yourself in the mirror, even like have a love affair with yourself before you can have it with someone else. My point is that, the way we speak to our significant other or even to ourselves can be not coming from love, let's just say. All
right. Can I play devil's advocate for a second? And this isn't like, I feel like I'm shooting myself in the foot as a dating coach. I think of the dozens of people I met before you. I didn't feel emotionally safe.
Well, then someone wasn't coming from love.
Well, they would probably say they were coming from love. Now, we didn't get far enough there. Okay. We didn't get in those circumstances. I don't think we ever got far enough.
So how much of it do you think was based on expectation? They expected you to
what made
blank.
What was interesting? I had no attachment to the outcome when we first started talking with each other.
You and I.
Yeah, with you and I. And when we were I wasn't looking to get laid.
Right.
I wasn't looking for, I wanted a relationship, but I had no expectation of an outcome with you. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to be myself with you. You even jokingly said, God, he's becoming my non-gay best friend.
I did say that.
in the way that I communicate emotionally speaking.
Yes.
There was a freedom that began our relationship that so often, and I've said this in videos before, there's the expectation of entertainment, romance, physical connection, attraction. It's this grand expectation that, again, in the expectation, men are supposed to climb to the highest room in the tallest tower, and women are supposed to seduce men with their attractiveness. And I'm not in agreement with that, but it's all of these darn expectations that are all so performative based.
And if they just came from
love.
When I say come from love, come from presence, come from curiosity, seek understanding.
Yeah. Be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable. Seek understanding. Really? Are you in here because you're wanting, your rescue fantasy to take place and he's the guy who's going to take care of you and sweep you off your feet? Or are you seeking to understand that this is a person you really want to connect with?
Whoa. I got to jump in because you brought in the rescue fantasy. If you're in a state where you're needing to be rescued, you're operating from a place of desperation.
Totally. But what I'm saying is that's where the expectations come in.
Yeah. And I would venture to say, and no disrespect, that, we're a walking wounded emotional. We're a walking wounded population of zombies from an emotional wounded space, and we're looking for love. Like, I mean, here in the United States, we're suckling on the nipple of, I need you to love me so I can feel good about myself. And we're suckling on victim consciousness as the through line. Not everybody, but this is why I'd like to think the reason why it, worked for us is that we did a shitload of work on ourselves before we ever, I mean, we dated other people too. So it's not like, but we did a lot of work on ourselves so we could be in a space where we could talk about our feelings and our emotions in a way that can be seen, heard, and understood. And, so few people do that. And particularly women are disappointed because men are way behind women in this capacity, except women might be good at vomiting their emotions. They're still not good at delivering it.
Well, and they're still to a lot of them.
I do. By the way, I want to give Julie a big props and thank you for the $20 super sticker. Thank you for the love. We appreciate you. Definitely. Thank you, both you and Al as well. I think it was a gentleman.
We also have a fan in there I saw backing up, Dakota.
Dakota made. Thank you, Dakota. We appreciate this. You can say my name is Dakota. I'm a big fan. Well, we're grateful for that.
And Dakota says that he or she is a big fan of self-love.
Okay. Yes. Hey, we've got time to take another question or two before we wrap up. I'm going to close that because my classes
starting to come in, bouncing off of us.
So, if you have a question, write the word question and post the questionnaire after.
So, I think the question of communication around sex, just to kind of put a
bow on everything
around the sex communication. I believe that it should be transparent from the get-go, and that and I see this, there's a lot of groups I belong to and stuff that will talk about, that men in their profile list, physical intimacy as one of their love languages, and they, they believe it to be
physical touch. You mean
physical touch as their love language, and they believe it to be code for sex. And I believe that and there may be some truth to that. There's no doubt. Again, we're all seeking connection, and for men, that's how they get, sex is their three-way to connection. But I think that we're so busy looking down our nose at the men saying that we're missing the point that connection is trying to be made. And I really want to and I just want to say my sentence again, that sex is and should be a sacred communication.
So it's almost like these days, from a dating perspective, particularly a lot of the advice and the forums and the groups out there is just like, particularly against men, it's that we're guilty, and maybe before proven innocent, but we're guilty. And you have to be looking for all the clues of how bad they are. And I get it. I would venture to say 9 out of 10 people you meet are not going to be right for you to begin with. But beyond the emotional dysfunctionality that exists out there. But here's the thing, dating does trigger dating and relationships trigger the number one emotional health wound most humans experience.
Okay.
I was waiting for the same.
I know. I'm like, what?
Emotional health wound, I believe, is I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not likable. Dating and relationships can trigger this shit like nobody's business. But the beauty of a trigger?
Tell me.
And by the way, we learned this at Hoffman. Triggers are like, yay, it's a good thing. Because when you're triggered, it means there's something to work on.
Yes.
And if dating or frustration in dating triggers the I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not likable, then guess what the antidote is? Self-love. Like it's, dating is a great opportunity. Dating and relationships are a great opportunity for an individual to grow and to learn communication skills, to build their emotional maturity. But as I said earlier in the video, if we're suckling on the nipple of I'm a victim here, How many
Yeah.
people operate? We were talking about someone I know that was operating from victim consciousness.
Yeah.
And when you're operating from victim consciousness, it's like, what's the hammer and the nail thing you always say?
If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a
Like a
nail.
nail, exactly. So, and beautiful 31131 says, yes, being triggered is so good. It means it's time to heal.
Yeah.
It means you got some shit to work
you
on.
got shit to work
You
on.
know?
And the breakdown is the way to the breakthrough.
Yeah. So, for those that are sitting on forums and watching videos and you're swimming in the victimhood of what's going on, I promise you're going to stay single, till the day you die, until you shift and go, you know what? Most men are good guys. They're just bad daters. And most humans want love. And if we can come from a place of compassion and understanding and vulnerability and curiosity and presence and friendship is the foundation, I guarantee you're going to have a much greater chance for success.
Yes.
You in agreement?
Totally.
Okay. Well, good. Because I'm expelled,
You're done and done.
Yeah, I'm done and done.
Okay.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do us a favor, post a comment below. We do our best to read these all in the first 24 hours. As always, you find value in the videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect, there's links below, both to get the books I recommend and to connect with me directly. And if click the link to coaching to see if coaching is right for you. Hey, I want to thank those of you that donated tonight, Julie and Al. Thanks so much for the love. We really appreciate you. And what else? We appreciate all the comments. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much.
Thanks for
I'm going to end this video the way I always do lately, is giving you a big hug and kiss. Wait. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Wishing you all a good evening. Bye now. I know that was awkward.